Hey friends, welcome to this video. Now I hope you guys enjoyed that little mini clip of my daily driver, my work in progress, and yeah, it's a bit ugly, call it a shit bucket if you will, but man, I swear I am so comfortable in that car. It gets me from point A to point B every day. I have not had no major issues for the past 3 years. And as I get along with the lessons, I'll give you a little more details and insight on why I picked that particular vehicle. But in today's video, I want to talk to you about why it's so important for you to look poor. Now, this is a topic that's actually been trending on the internet right now. There's a couple videos that are over the 1 million mark as far as views. Most of them are over 500,000. So I believe it's not just trending. I believe it's something that people are starting to pay attention to. And I was already thinking of sharing these insights because I've personally applied a lot of them to my own personal life. So even though they're trending, it's not just that I wanted it to catch the trend or what have you, but I noticed that it's starting to be a topic that people are really paying attention to now because the economy is getting pretty rough. It's 2024 as I record this video, but I believe the lessons that I'm going to share with you and even the insights that I learned from some of the research I did is that a lot of these things are pretty much evergreen. I think there's a couple of books that are pretty old, and many of the lessons that they share in those books are evergreen. As I said, I think one of them is the richest man in Babylon. I think I've read a couple of highlighted texts or what have you, but I've never been through the whole book myself. But I know there's a bunch of finance people that share that book for a reason. But as I mentioned, today's main topic is for you to take notes and take lessons away on why it's so important for you to look poor. And the primary reason is that this is the main way that you will be able to get rich or build some kind of wealth. And ultimately, I don't believe it's necessarily about the monetary goal, at least not for me. For me personally, it's about the freedom. And since it's fresh on my mind, that's part of why I drive that vehicle. That's part of the why I drive that shit bucket is because for me, I have realized that freedom is so much more important than driving a nice car. And don't get me wrong, I was your typical car guy growing up in my early 20s, my teenage years. Like I used to work janitorial service just to be able to pay for my automotive parts, for everything that I wanted to invest in these vehicles. And yes, they're fun, but trust me, they call it an expensive hobby for a reason. So since we are talking about the automobiles, let's go ahead and dive in. That is my first topic to cover. And this one is really, really important because we all know it's a major investment in our lives, aside from real estate, which I'll be covering in this video as well, your primary home or what have you. But the thing is with vehicles is that, they not only bring a sense of pride and joy or what have you, depending on what kind of cars you're into. If you're even a car type of guy or gal, vehicles play such an important role in our daily activities, right? So we know that if we don't have transportation, we're limited on the distance we can go. We are limited on when we can move and what schedules we can keep up with. So I understand that part is that it can play a big role. However, luckily nowadays you have many other options. It used to be just the taxi cab, where you used to have to pull up this big ass book just to find a phone number for you to call, and you had to wait, and then there was no GPS, so the taxi cab was delayed. But nowadays, think about how blessed we are with all of the Uber apps, the I forget the other one, Share Ride or what have you. You know, there's so many options out there. Lyft, that's the one I was trying to think about. But now you can just pull up your phone, and there's so much competition. They'll be at your house within 5 or 10 minutes, and you can go to your destination. So we kind of forget some of the other options that we have. But let's just say we didn't have those options to use these apps. You know, we would have to rely on the vehicle, especially if your job place is far away, your school is far away. So all of these places, you know, it's hard to get to if you don't have your own personal transportation. But here's where the problem comes in. I won't say you, but we, because I've been a victim as well. We tend to forget what the purpose of the vehicle is, and whether we want to admit it or not, it simply is for us to get from point A to point B. But nowadays, with all of the marketing, all of the flashy internet posts and what have you, you know, we get almost like hypnotized with all of the nice vehicles and the flashy cars and trucks or what have you. And don't get me wrong, it's nice to drive a nice vehicle, but it has to be at the right time of your journey. Listen, these cars are nice, right? I get it. They're really nice, but we all know all of the rules that apply to almost any vehicle. And this might include, or it might even include, luxury cars like exotics, you know, Ferraris or Lambos. You know, it's, if you look at the Lambo from the 80s, you know, you're probably gonna think it's ugly as shit. They still hold some value because they become vintage vehicles. But regardless, every freaking vehicle out there will lose value. So you need to get that through your head, is that every vehicle out there pretty much loses value. And every dollar you put into it, you need to be really strategic on whether you're going to get a return on that money, or just, as I mentioned, just accept what it is. You're putting that money into the vehicle to just enjoy it, but you are not getting no return. You're throwing it into a dumpster fire, you know, going back to the expensive hobby. Now, like I said, I get it. There's a season for joy, a season for enjoying the things, but that's not the point of this video. If you're here, it's because you want to make progress in your financial goals. You want to make a change and achieve a certain monetary goal, or you are looking for the freedom that I'm personally looking for. You know, I still am currently employed, and I am looking for ways where I am able to not depend on this employment. I can create more active and passive income where I have more control. But I will say, I do enjoy my career at times. It teaches me a lot of business insights of the whole supply chain, which is part of my career. I've learned a lot on the financial sides and what it takes to leverage debt, and to leverage other companies, to leverage resources, employees, third-party suppliers. All of those things will really come in handy, regardless of what type of business you're going to do. But the other thing, that even though I'm still employed, I still have that sense of freedom. Not 100% of the freedom that I want, but a sense of freedom in the way that I have absolutely no debt. I don't have a car payment that's giving me that monthly pressure. And I've shared how I've been able to build my savings in other videos. So having all of these things in my favor, because I drive an old ass car really gives me a lot of freedom and confidence to challenge myself, to challenge my management, and be able to ask them for new opportunities, for new challenges. And I am also able to withstand all of the pitfalls of the economy. You know, everything we're going through right now. There's people going through massive layoffs, and people losing, you know, their houses or their cars or what have you. There's all this panic going on, and honestly, I feel at peace. And the reason is because I'm prepared. And that is part of the benefit of why you need, or why it's important to look poor, because it's going to help you build that 6 month saving, or that emergency fund. It's going to help you have a little more cash in your pocket, and it's going to help you have more control, not just of your career, but your finances. Because as I mentioned, whether I go through a layoff, whether I decide to change careers, and there's a gap between my income, I'm able to handle that change and transition into a new career, into a new role. And like I said, it just gives me so much relief. It brings me so much peace. There we go. That's the better definition, because I haven't achieved the full freedom that I want, but I want you guys to feel that peace. That's the benefit I want you to take from this video, is that there's so much peace when you're in control. And granted, I know you're never going to be totally in control. There's anything that can happen in this life. You know, the struggle will impact anybody at any time. You know, I think they call it Murphy's Law, right? And just that's one of the primary lessons I want you guys to take out, is that do things that are gonna bring you peace, because like I said, it's honestly given me personally that benefit and that control to be able to be at peace with my finances and my careers. But speaking of Murphy's laws, I will tell you a little bit about my vehicle. So you're probably asking yourselves, like, damn, Jesse, these cars break down all the time, or what if I have issues or what have you. So the reason I chose this American built car, you know, they have the Mercury version, the Grand Marquis. They have the Crown Victoria, which I think used to be police cars or what have you. I did my personal research on a full transmission replacement and a full engine replacement. So those are the two biggest things that will impact you anytime you have a breakdown. Because other than that, all of the piece parts are under $500. A full suspension replacement will be about $500. A full brake job will be about $500. A full AC service will be about $600 with a brand new compressor, fans, antifreeze line, or, I'm sorry, freon lines, or what have you, coolant lines, whatever you want to call it. So that's the benefit that I saw in my vehicle. And trust me, I'm not a full-on mechanic. I mostly did body work throughout my younger years. But I do like to stay active. I am a little bit aware of what mechanics going through a vehicle. I do my own tune-ups, my own spark plugs, things of that nature. But I will not break down an engine. And that's the thing. I know there's people out there that can do these things. They can do a full brake job. They can do a full engine replacement or transmission replacement. And these are the benefits that you can use to your advantage to be able to progress in your financial goals. So when you're out there looking for a vehicle, if you find yourself in need, really consider a cash vehicle that is under $5,000. That's what I have found has been the kind of the sweet spot where you can find a decent enough vehicle. And like I said, if you're pretty experienced in the mechanical aspect, you're able to tell if a car's heating up, if a car's burning oil, or what have you. And if not, we'll get a buddy, a friend, somebody who does know cars, or you can get quotes with local mechanics, see what they'll charge you to inspect a vehicle. But $5,000 cash cars is definitely the sweet spot. I personally paid $3,500 for this one, so I love that deal. I'm really happy with that deal. So definitely, guys, consider that cash vehicle. Because think about it. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the opposite side, and that is buying a new vehicle with payments. So a lot of these cars out there are asking for about $3,500 or $5,000 down. So think about how difficult it is to save up that much money, especially you're on the average income anywhere between 40 to 60,000, and you're raising a family, and you might have rent or a mortgage or what have you. Think about how hard it is to save $5,000. So you go and plunk that down at the the dealership, and now next month you start your payments, which are going to begin at $500, which is now the average car payment these days, especially with people who have average credit. So I know some of you perfect credit score people out there might get something lower, but man, I'm amazed at what the average payment has moved up to. The average payment nowadays, and you can do your own research, is anywhere from $500 to $800 a month. My goodness, like that's insane. That is insane. I would not pay that for a car. And like I said, I've made my mistakes buying new cars myself. But this was way back. This was way back in the mid to early 2000s, where payments were still about $300 to $400 a month, and I was still struggling. It was still like a weight. It was just that pain in the ass that you had to make that payment every month. But just think about the payments today: $500 to $800, and then some of these vehicles don't even include insurance with that payment, and you wonder why you're broke. So that's where, really think about it before you go and sign your life away at the dealership, or as I said, the stealership, because you you will sign your life away, and you're definitely going to regret it for the next couple of 5 or 7 years, however long they're making these loans now. Okay, so enough with the cars. Just wanted to really get the point across with that. But now we'll drive into the next biggest investment of your life, which is your house, your real estate. And like I said, this is a thing that also plays a big role in your everyday life. If you're single, if you're just getting started in life, then this is probably something that you don't really have to worry about too much. However, you still have this thing called rent. And nowadays, it's also just as expensive as owning a home. However, when you purchase a home, there is a lot of hidden costs. And what I mean by hidden costs is that it's not just your utilities or what have you, taxes, insurance. There's a lot of upkeep. You're gonna realize once you purchase your first home, you're gonna realize how much goddamn landscaping there is to do around the freaking house. And then if you live in a state where it's sunny and rainy and hot, like in Texas here, you're gonna have to be mowing your yard like every freaking week. And like I said, hidden cost. If you're not putting in the sweat equity, you're still paying for it. So it's still a cost. No matter what, it's still a cost. You're paying for it with time or with money. And the other thing that many people do not take into consideration is the amount of house that they buy. It goes hand in hand with the vehicle. How much vehicle are you buying? How much house are you buying? Because another classic evergreen saying has been people who are house broke. Now, the other thing that I did, because I dive pretty deep into these kind of subjects, so I try to give you all the insights. Go into your local zip code, into your local county, and look up millionaire houses. Like set your balances, your balances on purchase to like 10 million or what have you, and a minimum $1 million. And then set up the search functions or filters to foreclosure. You can do this on Zillow. Here in Houston, we have har.com, and look at how many houses are under foreclosure. So think about how many people have made those mistakes. This could be people that were millionaires. This could be people making $500,000 a year. It could be doctors, lawyers. So we all make mistakes, guys. We all fall into this trap, and this is why I'm so comfortable sharing these insights, because I used to be hesitant because I'm like, I don't have no authority to talk about money. I don't even have 10 grand in the bank or what have you. But once I started saving a little more, once I started seeing the decisions that I was making working in my favor, I built the confidence. I had more confidence to share these things, because it doesn't matter how much money you're producing or what have you. And if you are, more power to you. But that doesn't mean you can't get finessed. That doesn't mean you can't get finessed by the banks, by the dealership. I'm sorry, I just love saying that. And no offense if you sell cars. Trust me, I've sold cars in my lifetime too. But it is what it is. There's people there is people that shouldn't be buying these vehicles, and I should have made this thing all about cars. I'm sorry going back to the cars, but I'm just really passionate about it. But going back to the houses, it's like, yeah, you think these people with money are so much smarter than you, but man, they've made the biggest mistakes. And I've shared it in my other videos. You name it, famous people, athletes, rappers. If you are not educated, if you hand your money away to an attorney, to a CPA, and you think you're just gonna sit back and let them handle everything, no. Like I said, you will get finessed by the dealerships, by the real estate brokers. You'll get finessed by women. You'll get finessed by attorneys. You need to be on point with your money. And like they say, more money, more problems. You don't need to be an all-out expert, but you need to be at least you need to have a surface level education of taxes, of legal protection. You need to have a basic understanding of financing, of cap rates, of appreciation, depreciation, so many things that, guys, you might think I'm probably giving you a headache with all of these topics and all of these insights. But if you think it's going to be easy being rich, you're in for a rude awakening, my friend. That is the biggest lesson that I have had. And I'm not even there yet, as I mentioned, but I can already foresee all of the issues and all of the problems that will come as soon as you amass this great amount of wealth, or once you start reaching these monetary goals that you have. So, like I said, you better be prepared. Okay, guys, as much fun as I'm having sharing these insights with you, I'll finish off with the last one. So, that is pretty much to avoid consumerism. Do not fall into what I like to call the mall therapy. And it's okay if you go do in mall therapy and maybe just buy an ice cream or a coffee and not buy anything. But unfortunately, the average person, for them, mall therapy is to go out every weekend, every other weekend, and max out their credit cards and maybe spend the whole paycheck. And consumerism, I mean, applies to all areas. It can apply to your social life. I'm like I said, I'm not perfect myself. There's been weekends when I've spent $500 on food, $500 on alcohol. We've all been there. I'm not hiding anything here. And really look back at how much money you're spending just to maybe distract yourself from maybe issues that you're having in your life, maybe problems or what have you. Maybe you're having a hard time at your job, like I said, so you're like, man, I'm just gonna go out and have a good time or what have you. And like I said, there's a balance to everything, guys. I agree, we do have to enjoy life, but when you're going through a rough time, there is so many other ways to deal with this that really don't require any money. I like to talk about fitness here and there as well. I'm all about lifestyle and balancing out. every area of your life, and not balancing out, but for me, maxing out every area of your life. You know, your finances, your health, your wealth, and there's so many other options that you can use to make your weekends more enjoyable. You know, we know, of course, the big one is exercise. You know, going for a nice hike, going for a nice bike ride, because I think most people are doing like the gym workouts during the week. It's a good way to decompress after work or what have you, and you kind of like more locked in during during the week. So that's when people really like to grind at the gym. So if you don't feel like doing something heavy or something too aggressive, then you can, like I said, you can do other activities, like maybe play some golf. Maybe, I think pickleball is the trend nowadays. As long as you're moving and kind of getting that sweat on, it's really going to give you that peace and that joy that you're looking for. And the other thing is also maybe finishing up with a simple walk at the park. You know, maybe popping in your favorite audio book or your favorite podcast, and you don't not no longer have to depend on spending every weekend, like I said, because I've personally fallen into that trap myself. And then at the end, you're like, damn, I shouldn't have wasted all this money on this or that. And of course, as far as shopping goes, you know, we all know there's so many quality and economical choices that we have on, you know, stuff that looks good and isn't going to break the bank. You know, I love you know, going by Target, grabbing a couple T-shirts by Old Navy, or even there's a couple of mall stores that really aren't that expensive, but of course you have to kind of look around, do your research. So there is no reason for you to overspend on name brand stuff or what have you. And like I said, this is things that everybody's realizing nowadays. Even some of the top notch business people. I've heard this come from Alex Hermosi. You know, he's the tank top guy. He's got the muscles for it, and he's always, you know, flaunting those guns of his. But he's a simple guy. He wears shorts. He wears these white fruit of a loom looking tank tops. But you know, this guy is set for life. He is set for life, and he's even shared some stories where he bought a Bentley because some of his peers were really pushing him on it, and they were kind of telling him to take advantage of all the tax benefits or what have you. And he did it, and he was totally dissatisfied. He was so regretful for it. He said, I just don't feel like myself in this vehicle. It has all these clunky buttons. It's too shiny. You got to keep it clean all the time. So Alex Hermosi ended up selling it. And if you haven't heard of Alex, which I don't see why not. He's like super popular on the internet right now. But you can take away a lot of lessons from him. I've personally learned a lot from him. Actually, I will share a quote that he has shared along many of his videos, and I think it's super powerful. I think it goes along the lines of, make it a goal to get super rich so that later you can ponder on why you did it all in the first place. I might have butchered that, but that's pretty powerful. So I actually like that. So I'll go ahead and finish off the video with that, guys. Remember Alex Hermosi's quotes when you're looking at your automobiles, the homes that you purchase, the consumerism, the shopping, the going out that you do. You know, really start paying attention at how much you're spending on these activities, and then make it a goal to get so rich that later in life you ponder on why you did it all in the first place. Okay, guys, so I won't keep you any longer, but as I always say, if you found any value in this video, please feel free to share, like, or subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.